So one final thing we should think about is who these third parties are. And this is the point where computer science and real-life business have to start combining with each other. Because when we say trustworthy third party, who is the third party and how do you trust them? That's something that computers can't solve. That's something you have to solve in real life using real-world business or organization relationships. So nowadays, there's roughly 100 to 200 certificate authorities that people trust. These authorities are usually run by companies in real life that people think are trustworthy. So for example, VeriSign is a company, and if you trust VeriSign as a company and you think that they're a legitimate company and they're not trying to do any shady business, then you might trust their public key and trust their certificates. So sometimes the companies are security companies like VeriSign. It could also be organizations like the US government or maybe some nonprofit organization. And the way you trust them is not using cryptography, but by using real-world business relationships, like the fact that this organization is someone I trust, or the US government is someone I trust, or maybe I don't trust them. But that's something that you have to choose in real life. And if any of these companies end up being malicious, then you should no longer trust them. And that's something that they break in real life. They turn malicious, and you stop trusting them. All of this happens in real life using business relationships, not using math or cryptography. So as an example, what might cause a certificate authority to become malicious? Maybe they get hacked. Maybe someone bribes them and pays them money to do something malicious. And if that happens, hopefully everyone notices, they get caught, and everyone agrees that this is no longer a trustworthy company, and they should no longer be in this list of 200 companies or organizations that we trust. Now, this has actually happened before. So there have been cases where solo hackers go in and take down certificate authorities, and now either the company itself is no longer trustworthy and they shouldn't be on that list of trustworthy companies, or maybe they have to regain everyone's trust by telling us how they're going to fix the problem. And if someone does hack into the certificate authority, they can pretend to be these websites like Google or Microsoft. So this could be done by solo attackers. Here's a case where the company might have just made a mistake. We don't know why they did it, but here's a company that issued a certificate for Google to some random person. So now that random person can pretend to be Google. That's pretty bad. There are other cases where certificate authorities have been hacked and their certificates have been stolen or changed to be malicious. So this does happen from time to time. There's all of these different articles that show that. And this means that in real life, we have to have some business way to trust these companies. And there actually have been certificate authorities that have been revoked. They've been hacked too many times, or they just don't seem trustworthy. So we actually delete them from the list of trustworthy certificate authorities. So this was a company that got hacked too many times, or people thought they were being shady, so they got deleted. They used to be on that list of 200 that everyone trusts, and at some point, everyone decided, you're no longer trustworthy, we're deleting you from that list. So the takeaway from this whole section is that the certificate authority ecosystem is secured not through math, but through human and business relationships. These certificate authorities, they have to be good, not because of some math, but because if they're being bad, humans will no longer trust them and will take their trust away. There are also other protocols for trying to trust certificate authorities. We won't really talk about these, but if you're interested, you can look into these two terms, and they tell us other ways to check if a certificate authority is being trustworthy or if they're being malicious.